Greetings, Ashen here with another Comic Books in Review. Well, some of you may know, my title is a little bit different this week. I'd love to know what you think about that in the comment section below. So what do we do here? Well, this week I'm going to start off by showing you a few comics that came in the mail and I picked up. They're nothing I'm really going to review, but I'm just going to let you know that they exist. Secondly, I am going to review comics from last week. And then, the final portion, I'm going to recommend upcoming comic books. So, to start with, we have Spider-Man #1. Yes, this is a free comic book day comic, and you can pick this up at your local comic book shop. The next one I got on free comic book day was X-Men #1. These are some great titles that you can get for free. Go support your local comic shop. It definitely helps out, especially in this tribulatious time we're going through. And next I have to show you one of my favorite horror companies, Ebon Press, came out with The Beyond #1. I think they're already on issue #3 or something, but I'm really far behind on this. This is the signed edition, though. Comes in this cool thing, which is called the Ebon sleeve. There's actually a comic book inside of it with a whole different cover and all kinds of extras. So if you like horror comic books, please go check out Ebon Press. The last thing I wanted to just briefly talk to you about was Doctor Who. Yes, I don't know if any of you have read Who magazine. This is issue number 135 though, and I'm not the biggest Doctor Who fan, but I do love this Doctor in particular. And even more than this Doctor, I love a little character known as Death's Head. And this right here, my friends, is the only issue I know of where Death's Head and Doctor Who crossed over in this magazine. So that's why I picked that up, and I just wanted to show you all that miscellaneous little stuff. Now let's get to the review. We have Wolverine. Alright, well this has been a wonderful series so far. Let me go ahead and cut to the art so you can check it out. Here we have Wolverine teaming up with very powerful members of the X-Men to take on the Pale Girl. He finally escaped her grasp and is now back with his team to take out her complex. The art and action in this book was phenomenal. I do wish they had gone into a little deeper how he got away from her grasp since he was entirely under her control. But I guess they just didn't want to waste time on such matters, which is a little bit unfortunate in my opinion. In the end though, it was an extremely satisfying book, and I definitely recommend that you pick up Wolverine #3. Alright, well without further ado, let's get to my next review for this evening. Hiro, Blood of Patriots. Alright. Here I'm going to show you this little card I got in the back too. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about this comic book. It looked cool, it looked like it had promise, but I didn't know if it was going to be pulled off properly. Well, I can safely say I was very happy with it. The biggest hurdle for me in this book was the art. It's not bad by any means, but it's definitely an acquired taste. However, by the end of the book, I was fully on board. Hiro is sort of an AI being, like a robot, that hooks onto dead bodies and it fuses with them to make a brand new being. It bulks up the body and enhances the skills. Perfect for military purposes. In this story we get to know Hiro, the person who made him, and the whole team. They go on extremely challenging missions with this super soldier on their side. Particularly, the last part of the book really got to me. There was some twists and turns in there I wasn't expecting, but enjoyed very much. If you love blood, guts, violence, and overall great storytelling, then I would definitely recommend this book to you. This was a crowdfunded book, and when the next one comes out, I'm definitely going to be on board for it, and you should be too. So keep an eye out for Hiro Volume 2, and I'm certain you'll have an opportunity to pick up both volumes. Next up was a little bit of a surprise for me. I was contacted by a fellow named Bradley Golden, who came out with a comic book from Antarctic Press called Leave on the Lights. Now, I hadn't read this series before, but I am a big fan of horror, and he asked if I could review it. So, with full disclosure, I'm definitely going to be doing that. In the beginning of issue number 1, we have a serial killer on the loose, and he's running around, cutting up families. His name is Lassie. The weird part about this case is, Lassie is supposed to be dead, and Marshall is the one that put him away. Detective Marshall is now put on these new cases that have an uncanny appearance of being the same as the serial killer he saw fry. But could Lassie be back from the grave? Aside from him, Sarah is also on the case. And it appears that our serial killer has bloodlust for her. He has the ability to teleport and is now seemingly unkillable by conventional means. And Lassie has special plans for her partner, Gary, who is busy uncovering the mystery until he's interrupted by an occultic maniac who has a devious and demonic plan. Finally, with everything coming to a head, we have our third and final issue coming out. And I've been given a sneak peek of it, but I'm not really going to show much of it for you. I just want to talk about it and try to convince you to buy it. This series is actually quite interesting. It reminds me a lot of something Wes Craven would have came out with. In some ways, it reminds me of the film Shocker, but with a more demonic hint to it. The latest issue is really the culmination of everything coming together, the most violent and brutal issue yet. So if you've been reading this series so far, the last one definitely will not disappoint you. It is a gore and violence spectacular that leads to some interesting ends. Well, that's my review with the series so far. Now, let's go on to recommendations for next week. Rogue Planet number 3 by Colin Bunn is coming out. I've been enjoying this series so far. I'm still a little tentative on it, but I have liked it, and I'm definitely willing to give this issue another chance to keep pushing the ballot. Will the crew get to the bottom of the mystery of this alien deity that stalks the planet, consuming all who enter, and putting them amongst its ranks? If that sounds interesting to you, check it out at your comic shop this Wednesday. Next up we have Sleeping Beauties number 2. The first issue of this was very bizarre, and I'm going to give the next issue a little look over too. I don't know how I feel about it yet. It's just so strange that it's hard to tell. Hopefully I'll get a little bit of a better footing with this issue though. If you're in for something really weird, then check out Sleeping Beauties number 2. Well, that's my show for the week. I appreciate everyone for watching it. Anyone who stops by, leaves a like, a comment, any of that kind of stuff really helps. If you enjoyed my program and you're new to this, please subscribe. I do this every single week. I also put out content that talks about entertainment and whatnot, comics, whatever I'm interested in, horror stuff, all kinds of genres I talk about on the side. But, that's if I have time to produce another video in the week. Anyway, thank you all, and I hope you all have a great evening. Yes,